Good afternoon, Justin O'Keefe from Talent Force Recruitment. I'm here with
Julie Bond.
And continuing our mission to help parents who are returning to work or parents who are looking for perhaps somewhat more family friendly and or flexible roles. Today we're going to be talking about our observations, what we've seen both in candidates and employers saying over the last few months about the return to work process, and perhaps some of the questions that we would suggest candidates maybe consider as they look to start that journey. So Julie, what are the main things you've seen, the main themes, challenges you've seen perhaps for parents who are either returning to work or perhaps reconsidering their full-time positions and perhaps looking for something more flexible?
Okay, well, I think that you need to be clear on your availability. So some people choose to work 5 mornings a week when the children are in primary school, or some people prefer 2 to 3 days a week because they may have another reason for working flexibly. It's not always because they have children or young children. They need to be clear about what they're going to do if it is children, what you're going to do on sick children days. So a few parents I've spoken to who've used the creche or childminder option do also have a backup of, say, grandparents, and that's quite important. When you go in to talk to an employer, you don't want to sound a bit vague on that.
So a little bit of clarity around availability. Mm-hmm. And what about the question of location? What have you seen people are willing to consider or maybe consider late in the process?
Okay, well, location is interesting. When it's flexible, sometimes some of the locations that are pretty difficult to get to in the rush hour become a little bit easier if you're going in for 9:30 or 10, or if you're leaving at sort of 2:30 or 2:30. So mostly I find people don't want to be travelling more than half an hour, especially when they're only in for half a day. But again, I have people that are actually really up for quite a long commute, even on the M50, particularly if it's not in the rush hour.
Okay, so maybe a half an hour, 20 to 30 kilometre radius around your location.
But again, that's important for us to know where you're prepared to go to, because some people are a little bit open, but then when you actually present them with a job, they go, actually, no, I don't want to go there. So
okay, we would often speak to candidates who are trying to balance the trilogy of career progression, salary and flexibility. How important is career progression to somebody perhaps with 20 years experience, and what should they consider perhaps as they look at their options?
Okay, well, most of the people that we're talking to at the moment who are looking for a flexible role are actually willing to give up any formal career progression for the period of doing that flexible role. That's the whole point, that they just want to be able to keep their hand in, be able to not lose all of their technical skills, etc., but not actually be looking for promotion and having to work those long hours. There's quite a lot of people in flexible roles who actually end up working full time when you add in what they have to do at home. So a lot of our people don't actually want to do that. They want to just go in, do the job, go home. There are some that do still want to look at progression, and it's important for them to be clear, do they really want to do flexible, or should they really be sticking with full time? Because you're not really going to progress hugely in the time that you're doing flexible, usually anyway. Okay,
because it doesn't fit a traditional career path or trajectory. The question of salary and benefits tends to come up, and we would see a lot of people who are perhaps working in the IFSC in the multinational sector who are extremely well paid. How does that manifest itself in the interview and the recruitment process?
Well, I think most people are quite realistic about the salaries that are out there. If in return for a better location, an easier location, in return for flexibility, and in return for a work-life balance, and not to miss important years if your children are very young, a lot of people are actually quite open to taking a drop in salary. Again, I'm finding though that some of them are on quite nice benefits in their full-time roles, and they need to think about losing those because they don't always come with a flexible salary.
The challenge being that many of the firms that we work with will be smaller SMEs who
wouldn't have the formal, pension, healthcare type things. You may have to pick those up yourself for a few years, but a lot of people are quite willing to do that in return for all the other things. Okay,
so thank you, Julie, for your insights. Absolutely valuable. Really appreciate it. We hope this has been a benefit to you. We're always looking to speak to candidates and employers if you know flexible roles. So feel free to give us a call on 01908 1514. You can email me, justin@talentforce.ie, or you can email Julie at
Julie@talentforce.ie.
Thanks so much for your time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.